Andrew Callahan. Uh, let's start with Brandon Aiyuk. Give us the situation and your thoughts on it.
So this broke while I was doing TV last night, so I haven't had a ton of time to dig, but the information I had up until about 10:15 or whatever this broke last night was the Patriots. I could confirm Matt Mayoka's report. Mark Daniels confirmed this as well from Mass Live yesterday. The Patriots had an agreed trade with the 49ers. I included that it did have Kendrick Bourne in there and a lot of draft capital for many months of pursuing Brandon Aiyuk. They were also scuttlebutt around the league prepared to make an offer that Mike Reese later hard reported would make him a top 5 receiver, meaning on an average annual basis, north of $30 million per year. But the issue with this trade is not that they didn't make a fair offer to the Niners or to Brandon Aiyuk. It's that Brandon Aiyuk right now is like an NBA star who gets to pick where he wants to go because he has 1 year left. And he's put a lot of stress on the team that has him right now. And he didn't pick the Patriots, so the trade was dead on the table.
Okay, so does that reflect poorly on the franchise? Because people are going to say that all day.
Look, I think fans have a right to be disappointed, maybe even angry, right? Like you feel like you got to the goal line. This is a touchdown that is going to push you closer towards maybe the playoffs next year, perhaps even this year. Like you would be your best player in offense, the number 1 receiver. You haven't seen Julian Edelman, maybe better than Edelman, and perhaps going back to Randy Moss. But to me, they did everything right here. I don't know what more you can do than offer a guy more than $30 million per year. Guarantees, we don't know yet. We may never know. And then offer the team that has him enough draft capital plus a veteran at the same position to appease them. So the Patriots swung, they missed because they're no longer a destination in the NFL. And that's a big problem that we've not only just seen with Aiyuk, but with players like Calvin Ridley back in free agency.
Okay, so, go ahead, John.
I was just going to ask, so I made the point earlier this morning that this, to me, if I'm the Patriots, it probably in my mind accelerates the need for Drake Maye to play some this year, because if you're going to go into free agency at all next offseason to try to attract the top guy to come here, you're going to have to be able to show what he's going to be dealing with.
So I get the point that you're making, but if in the process, then Drake Maye falters, or let's say worse, gets broken physically or has a real issue mentally, and you rush just because you might sign someone, maybe, could be, in free agency while throwing it a bag at them when you just did that and whiffed, that's a worst case scenario. I think, Ryan, I take the opposite feeling about this. Had Aiyuk been here, that's some sort of insulation for Drake Maye, right? He's got 2 receivers now with Pop Douglas who can open immediately, quickness and long speed, beat man coverage as they both do. Now he still has the one. He's 5'8". He's had a couple of concussions last year. I love Pop Douglas, but you need to fix the offensive line too. So nothing about Aiyuk saying no has changed those elements. And to me, you just have to wait until he's ready, which is going to be a difficult thing to assess as they go deeper into the regular season. And his snaps, unlike training camp, go down with the 1s and 2s in practice.
And I get what you're saying. It just is, to me, if guys are turning down $30 million to come here and because they don't think that the team is ready, they don't think the team's going to compete, I don't know what we're going to see out of Jacoby Brissett this year that's going to change their minds on that. If all they know is that they're going to be starting from scratch with Drake Maye.
It's a totally fair question. I would say this too. You know, the supposed rumors about Brandon Aiyuk, he wants to go to Pittsburgh, right? And who do they have at quarterback? Russell Wilson, who stinks. Justin Fields, who statistically has been one of the bottom 10, 12 passers in the league, and that's just what it is. And yet, for some reason, not only does Brandon Aiyuk want to leave San Francisco, the best offensive coach in the league, the best set of weapons in the league, went to the Super Bowl 2 of the last 3 years, he wants to go to that place. And I would argue quarterback is the biggest part of the destination and really important. The head coach is the other piece. Yeah. And so I don't know how much, let's say, social equity Gerard Mayo can build up in league circles over the next 12 months. But Mike Tomlin versus Gerard Mayo is a no contest right now. So they need to get the word out that the Patriots are back up in a sense, at least for people want to play here. It might not be to win, a la Brady and Belichick, but guys got better. They had fun. And the league is going to learn about Gerard because he's only, as we know, ever been in one place. guys talk when they leave or they have buddies around the NFL who play for other teams. It's just going to take time, whether it's Mayo, or whoever the team looks this year.
Yeah, they're going to need to hopefully have the word get out that it's a good place to play, and it'll be a while before it's any kind of a destination. But we saw it with Rex Ryan and the Jets, how guys saw what was going on in Hard Knocks, and word got out. It's like, I want to play for that guy, and that's probably going to be the best chance that they have, at least in the short term. Andrew, I think for the Patriots and the way they're building this team moving forward, I want to give them credit for, not going all in to try and get Brandon Aiyuk, but it sounds like A, that they did, and B, I would be going back to what you said earlier. I'd feel better if they were shoring up the offensive line and trying to take the route that, like the Eagles did a few years ago, build from the lines out first. Then you get your quarterback, and then you worry about the receivers. But I don't know what template they're following here.
So we do know, though, Hardy, and it's the Packer way, right? Like, I got a book over here on my shelf. It's called The Packer Way. It's by Elliot Wolf's dad, Ron Wolf. You look at all the team building they've done. Patient with the quarterbacks. Jordan Love sat. Aaron Rodgers sat. Of course, they did have the benefit of Rodgers had Favre, and then Love had Rodgers to sit and wait, be that attraction, have someone take care of the offense. They do like to build from the outside line, the offensive line outward, I would say. The issue is, to understand where you are, you need to know where you've been. And with the Patriots, what that means is 2 of the last 3 summers, they have been fishing for offensive tackle depth like most of the rest of the league. In 2021, Mac Jones' rookie year, they're signing and trading for a guy named Yasir Durant, 7th-round pick that they give to the Chiefs in exchange for him. He barely plays. 2 years ago, we know the panic trades of Vidarian Lowe and Tyron Wheatley Jr. So you could absolutely argue, and I would, that the Patriots should have been more aggressive with players like Jonah Williams in free agency or Tyron Smith to fix this tackle issue. They didn't. What they do is sign a bunch of guys to fill the foundation, extend from within, another pillar of the Packer way, and the offensive line is still a problem. And that's on them. But as far as what they're doing, it's going to be more of a patient rebuild than I think this whole Aiyuk business would have suggested.
So they do have a template. It is that building from the lines out. They just have kind of stumbled when starting with the offensive line.
Yes, and look, this is not passing the buck and looking back and pointing a finger at Bill Belichick, because again, I think they could have and should have signed someone like Jonah Williams, starting caliber tackle from the Bengals, who instead went to Arizona for reasonable money, and the Patriots said, no. And that's someone I checked in on at the time. But Belichick, again, a year ago, took a bunch of Riley Reifs and Calvin Andersons and threw them at the wall and will say, we'll see who sticks. And didn't want to play Mike Onwenu at tackle. And he's back at guard now. I think they should move him to tackle, which would help settle some of this. And the year before, we know the solution was move Isaiah Wynn after 4 years to right tackle. And he was miserable, and he was bad, and he was pissed off. And the year before was Durant. So it's not like they've had a lot to work with here and are just screwing it up. They just haven't added in a way that I think has been meaningful to the offensive line.
All right, Andrew Callahan. It's very exciting times around the Patriots as Drake Maye takes the field coming up on Thursday. We appreciate the time, sir.
I do have one more question for Andrew, because there's been some dissent in terms of how Drake Maye was looking yesterday. Zoe Beetle got very excited. I heard that about a couple of completions, I think, to Kayshon Boutte. And then I'm hearing some pushback. It's like, it wasn't all that impressive.
Yeah, so I said this last night, and I'll tell you guys the same thing. I think we went from the start of camp collectively as a media. I don't care if you got a microphone, you got a pencil, you got whatever's going on in the hill over there. The bar was too high for Drake Maye as a 21-year-old relative raw prospect, which we're all saying at the time, some people have forgotten, to now we are celebrating openly 10-yard fade routes into the back right corner of the end zone. He had back-to-back pinpoint throws. The second one was incomplete because Shaheem Bell had 1 foot out of bounds. But those were the 2 best throws yesterday, guys. And I don't know about you. If I want a quarterback to start week 1, and that's the peak, that's the pinnacle of what he's doing as a passer, I need a little bit more. So overall for Maye, I think he's really only had 1 terrible day. You could argue for 2, but he's also never had a great day. Yesterday wasn't one, 7 of 14, interception. It was solid and then got spoiled late. It's been like a C, maybe C plus for him for me this summer.
Yeah, and I don't mean to say that Zone Beatles, were jumping up and down saying he had a great day and it was awesome, but there was
they were super excited.
There was some excitement there, and
it was on Instagram. I saw it. Now, so since we're talking about it, I don't know if we talked to you about this. Colin Cowherd said that Joe Milton was going to beat out Drake Maye and Joe Milton was going to be the number one. I know that's not happening. I'm not entertaining that. But does Joe Milton look like unbelievable in practice or something?
No, he does not. To a couple of days ago, and look, if you're someone who believes Colin Cowherd believes all the things he's saying, you're his target audience. Like
Right.
that, it's just part of his shtick. And
Right.
I don't want to say it was retracted, but I know Ben Vole in the Boston Globe was very high on Joe Milton. I think that caught a lot of attention, and he since kind of backed off and said, I believe it was a couple of days ago, hey, Maye has pulled ahead or he's been better. In my opinion, and I say the stats to back this up, in 11 on 11s, where Drake Maye is facing more difficult defenses, he was better than Milton, even on his 3 worst days, by sacks, by interceptions, by balls he's completing down the field. It's just that Joe Milton, and all credit to him, he's a lot of fun to watch, has the best aesthetics as a 6'5", 246-pound dude who can run around and throw the ball wherever you want on planet Earth. So, yeah, he looks really good in 7-on-7s, but beyond that, no, he looks like a 6th-round rookie.
Yeah, it's funny because when we talked about the Cowherd thing, and I think Cowherd's talented, it's just when is the return on the investment not, worth it? Like, because I understand you throw things out and like we're talking about it right now and this, that, and the third, but there's some things like Joe Milton's not going to be a quarterback in the NFL. Like he's not going to be a starting quarterback. So it's like, at what point do you put the governor on the take? You know what I'm saying? Like when it gets when does it get too ridiculous where the return isn't worth the price is what I was saying. But there you go.
I mean, judging by the fact we're still talking about it, I think we just threw more, wood on the fire, if you will. Colin Cowherd's burning out there in L.A.
Well, listen, God bless him. God bless him. All right, thank you. There you go, Andrew Callahan. We appreciate it.
If you like that clip, and how could you not? Check out more videos from Toucher and Hardy here. Point slightly up and to the left. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. Point slightly down and to the left. And for the latest from the Sports Hub, download at 985thesportshub.com.